Right, we must crack on because we're running out of time here.
Well, we're not running out of time. What are you talking about?
Oh, I thought we decided we're going to keep it down to 45 minutes.
No, only if we ran out of things to say. I haven't run out of things to say yet.
What?
Because I've got a fantastic thing to tell you in this section.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Morning, Top Bird.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Oh, look, you're at the Taj Mahal.
I know, it's lovely, isn't it? Sepia Taj Mahal.
Yes, indeed. And you are stronger than your challenges, and your challenges are making you stronger.
Yeah. Right, so how's your week been?
Well, I've had a cold, but I'm not going to moan about it. Let's move swiftly on. I've got two things to report in this section.
Well then.
I've finally hit 1,000 organic likes on my Facebook page.
Oh, fantastic. That's a nice little milestone. Indeed.
Growing my audience for the book. It's all about that now, since I'm intending the book will upsell to my coaching services various. And on Saturday night, I went out to dinner with my besties, as I told you last week. And he, a 72-year-old, gave me his old iPad because for his 72nd birthday, his wife gave him a new one. His wife gave him a 2017. So he gave me his 2013-14, which was younger than my 2011. It's much nicer to use. It's lighter. I synced the old one myself on Sunday.
Get you.
And then when I needed a new cable for the new one because it's a lightning cable on one end, and my old one was a sort of fat cable. So I had to order a cable, and then I couldn't sync the new one until the cable arrived. So on Monday, Amazon delivered the cable and I synced it and everything worked the first time. I am a genius, and Eric, my tech guy, agreed that I am indeed a genius. I didn't need any help to do that, including setting up email. It was so easy. Only one conundrum. What do you do with the old one, a 2011 iPad?
I don't know. Give it to someone. I
can't imagine anyone would want one, can you? I mean, it's so slow and old and sticky.
I know, but that's only feels like that to you because you've got the new one now. You were managing.
No. It felt like that before. How I possessed myself in patience, I do not know.
I know what you mean. Mine's very slow. I think mine's 2012, 2013. It's slow enough. But I've stripped everything off it except the Kindle because that's what I like to use it for, is to read it as if a book. I
think it is a good use. It is a good Kindle. I've read my Jack Reacher book this week on my new one because I can. I do quite like reading on the Kindle app on the iPad, actually. It's a nice size in every sense, and it's backlit if you want that of an evening, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. It did occur to me I could do that. I could take everything off the old one and just use it to watch telly or something. I don't know.
Yes, something like that. But I mean, the thing is, I see the kids around Stupa who are, one of them's got an ancient iPhone with a cracked screen. It's so cracked you can barely see it, but they're still playing games on it.
Well, I agree. If I lived somewhere like that, it would be easy to find somebody to give it away to. Anyway, tell me about your week.
Well, I've booked my flights home for Christmas, New Year. And as soon as I did that, I announced it to my sisters, who then got me on FaceTime and said, the place you were going to stay isn't now available.
Oh.
So, no, they think it might be because she's apparently trying to get it ready for Airbnb. So I was, she only just had this idea. So Heather's thinking that she probably won't get her act together before Christmas. And even if she does, it probably won't get booked in time. And I still might be able to stay there. But I mean, Phoebe's expecting for me to stay at their place, but that involves kicking their dad out for the duration.
Yeah. How long are you home for? When are you coming and when are you going back?
Well, because of the flight pricing, I'm actually going home for 3 weeks, which is I feel a little bit weird about the whole thing. I'm really looking forward to going, but the whole thing about the journey, I've got to go to Athens rather than Kalamata.
Give me the dates roughly, even if we edit them out, because it's quite useful for me to know for our planning purposes.
18th to the 6th.
Lovely.
Going, and neither of them are recording days, so we should be fine.
Okay.
And Yeah, so I've got to go. It's all right because it's an evening flight, so I can go on the bus to Kalamata and then on the bus to Athens, which is perfectly pleasant and very, very, very cheap indeed. It's €100 if you do a shared taxi thing. They've got some sort of arrangement here. One of the people who hire cars, they've got a shared taxi arrangement whereby you let them know when you're coming and going, and they try and match up people to go in the same taxi as you, but you only pay 1/4 of the fare.
Yes, that's like a poor man's Uber.
Yeah, exactly.
An informal Uber.
Yeah. So I think I might not do it on the way there because it's €100 basically. So, and I can get the bus for €30 and it would be quite fun and I wouldn't have to talk to people. So I'm sort of thinking I might do that. But then on the way back, I get into Athens in the evening. I've got a nice lunchtime flight from Gatwick, but because of the time difference, you pop forward 2 hours. So you end up arriving at Athens at 7 p.m, which is going to be dark. And then there's no buses to Kalamata at that time of night. So I'd either have to stay in a B&B or I'd have to do this shared taxi thing. But I've got to tell you, the thought of going in a taxi at night around the bendy roads is like really quite frightening.
Well, it might be better. You could just leave that to the driver and not look. By the way, 3 weeks in the UK is going to do your Sweden.
I know that, and it's going to be expensive too compared with here because I will be going out with all my pals and family and things like that. So, but hey, the thing is, I can occupy myself as well there as I can here. And it would be nice to see everyone, of course. So you're not convinced, are you?
No, and is the thing that Heather's preparing for Airbnb where you used to live with the pink floral wallpaper?
No.
St John Street, whatever it's called.
No, John Street. No, John Street's let at a vast rent. You can imagine it's all done up very nicely. Yeah, so I'm a little bit trepidatious about the whole thing, but I can picture myself doing it. I've just got to sort out this coming back thing.
Yes.
We had a Right Club meeting. We had it in Melissa's Taverna because it's nice and quiet there at lunchtimes, and we had a lovely lunch and we talked about. They critiqued my first 2 chapters. And I've got a lot of problems with tenses and grammar, but I'm not daunted. They said, don't stop writing. They said, just don't get caught up in that. You could do the editing later, but if you've got the creative flow on, just write until you run dry. Then you can go back and do some editing.
Grammarly will sort out that tenses stuff for you.
Yeah, I haven't invested in Grammarly yet. Do you think I should?
It's free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's an upsell, so you might as well write with the free version on because it sorts out some things as you go.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is I'm changing my point of view a bit too frequently when you jump onto different shoulders, and then my grammar's appalling. So no, they're very encouraging. They love the fact that I've worked out my 11 alien races and all their names and their characteristics, and I've got the plot's coming along apace, but it's just I need to do my scene list next, which is when you pop your spreadsheet open and you start. You sort of do an act one.
Yes, or Scrivener does that. Yes, yeah. Scrivener does that. They have little visuals of 3x1, whatever they're called, those little index cards we used to use on a cork board. Doesn't work for me because it's not my type of book, obviously, but there's that facility to do that, and then you can move the scenes around just by dragging them,
Yes. Well, I thought I could do that with a spreadsheet just as easily.
You can. You and I can do everything on a spreadsheet.
Yeah. but so what you do is you've got your sort of Act 1, Act 2, which is divided into 2 halves, second half Act 2, Act 3, and then what you do is you've got your overarching story arc, which I've already got, but now I need to start working out the scenes that I need to write. So, and I thought that I've written the first 2 because they just popped into my head. But apparently, when you're planning out your scenes, you feel compelled sometimes to stop and write one. So I'm hoping that'll happen.
There's many a famous writer who shall remain nameless who can't do tenses and grammar either, and they write the story and then it's edited into read worthy.
Yes. No, well, I want to get the hang of this whole point of view thing. Apparently, I'm very good at moving from points of view. I just do it a bit too often. So you have to stay with one character longer, apparently. So
otherwise, it would be exhausting for the reader. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. They have to concentrate to keep up, which is you don't want them that. You want them to go into the fictive flow or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The one I told you wrong last time.
Yes. Well, it took me a while. Yes.
Yeah. what's fueled your fire this week then?
Just a nice little comment from a client who I'm speaking to today. She lives in London, but coincidentally, she's on an extended break in India. And she's gone back to a place in India that she's been before. And last time she went there, you'll relate to this, she was in an escape from quite difficult circumstances in her life, not the same as yours, but similar. And she was quite broken at the time. And this time she's a lot healthier, and she's gone back to see somebody who she was looking forward to seeing, some kind of guru, who she said was less interested in her this time because she was less broken. Oh. And she said to me, this is good for her as a person who does work with other people, to see their health and success instead of their brokenness. And then she said, that's what you do, and that's why I like working with you. The idea that I can see people's, success, not what's wrong with them. It was that fueled my fire. I mean, I do see that because I'm the queen of positive thinking. It is all about potential, and when I talk to a new client, they think they're broken and I see them mended, type of thing. It was just such an observation, an insight, a useful insight, feedback without it intending to be that. Quite useful for me to know, and very useful for her to know, because she's not in the same work as me, but she does work with clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. And I can see that perhaps, Mia was focusing on what's your next challenge, what's your latest challenge. That might be, perhaps I need to turn that round into something more positive, because you will say, I don't want challenges, let's talk about...
Well, I could put challenge in the same box with boot camp, to be honest. It's all a bit blokey for me, and the whole thrust of my book is about how can it be easy, just do it your own way, not obsessing that you're not doing it like everybody else all the time. So the whole all the rage thing at the moment is these 5-day challenges where you upsell to something at the end. And I think, not another bloody challenge. Even if I want to actually learn what's being, disseminated in the 5 days. So I've joined something next week, which is 4 days, and it's not called a challenge. It's called a learn along, which I thought was quite nice, actually. So obviously, clearly another woman who's decided not to sell something as a challenge, or is voting against the use of the word challenge. I mean, opportunity, I don't know, really.
Yeah. I remind me to say something at the end about your book and the way you're doing online with it, if you don't cover it in one of the other sections. It's a good thing. So what's Fuel My Fire? Oh, right. Okay. So Fuel My Fire this week is Kate Cocker, my presenter coach client, has she's been away out of circulation really for the last 3 weeks, because she's been making these documentaries about these 3 people leaving care and going into creative industries, and how creativity is helping them to make that transition. So she's been very, 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 very busy. But when we had a little catch-up call today, we realised that her leads had kept coming, her visitors to her website had kept coming, it's a survey that I set up a couple of weeks ago is being filled in. She's had lots of people contacting her on LinkedIn from seeing her little videos. And the funniest thing of all was she went into our local Waitrose last night with her son, and they got up to the checkout, and the boy behind the counter said, "Oh my God, it's you." And she said, "What?" And he said, "You're the lady." Because one of her little tips video is how not to say so often.
Oh, wow.
When you're presenting, and it's only 3 or 4 minutes long, but she's had some really, really positive feedback about it from all sectors of the industry. But the boy behind the counter in the Waitrose works in radio, and he's watched her video, and he was so excited to see her.
He a celebrity spot.
Yes, and her son, who's about 7 or 8, said, "Oh God, Mum, it's like you're a YouTuber. You're famous." So it was an interesting thing, because we did a little catch up, because she feels, having been concentrating on something else entirely, that she's neglected her business, but she's delighted to find that things have just kept going on as normal.
I've written down here, everything kept happening even while she wasn't there. Brilliant result.
Yeah, and when you think all it took for her was to make 12 little 3 to 4 minute videos talking about tips she'd like to share with people, that was the total sum of her input at the beginning. It's just, it reinforces in me that I've got a great system here for people. And even though we had a little slump, because, I knew she was busy, so I didn't do so much, we had a little slump in the middle, it still kept rolling. And that makes me feel really good. And it makes me feel really good about sharing it and pushing it out to the world. And what you say about, if you've got great content, then it's your responsibility to share it. I just feel so fired.
Be on fire with it. I agree. Yeah. Fire is a good word in that sense. And if that comes from 12 Little Tips videos, that's the result. And actually, it takes you out of that challenge reality, because almost anybody can do that. Noticing my Lumen 5 videos. Hello.
Well, absolutely. Do
you know what I mean? Never say never.
Hang on. That's a seamless segue into our newly renamed section, Focus of the Week. Here at Own It, we personally believe that leaders are readers, but sometimes it's just not convenient to read and you'd rather listen instead. For listeners of Own It the podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. A couple of titles we've picked out for you particularly are Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg or Crush It, Why Now is the Time to Cash In on Your Passion by Gary Vaynerchuk. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/ownit. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ownit for your free audiobook. You can pick one of the ones I've chosen for you, or you can choose something else. Enjoy your listen.
Yes, I've written Marketing the Podcast. Do you mind if I give the listener a summary of our meeting from last Friday?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've decided that we've got one goal, and that we're going to focus, instead of inviting people to review us on iTunes, we've decided to focus on asking existing listeners for their support in sharing episodes each week. And we've set up a special group on Facebook to make that easy by giving them shareable stuff. And that we're starting with a certain number of downloads, which I got you to put in the group. So we've got a measurable starting point. And listener downloads means the number of listens, nothing more complicated than that. And I'm going to do some things, and you're going to do some things. I'm going to put click to tweet in each of the show notes, the blog post that I create. I'm not sure that'll do a huge amount of good, because not many people read the show notes, but those that do might be tempted to click to tweet. We're going to focus on growing our group of listeners, because we can have a relationship with them there. You're going to do the wave thing. Tell us about the wave thing.
Right. Well, Wave, let me just find the URL for our...
You told us about Wave last week, didn't you?
WAVVE.co. What you do is you upload your picture for your podcast episode, or anything. It could be a screenshot of a video or anything. And then you upload a tiny bit of audio. Now, I think it's 30 seconds if you're using the free version of Wave. I've upgraded because I wanted enough to do one a week and also a longer bit of audio. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, the funny beginning bits and a bit of our theme tune, and I'm uploading that as an audio, and it makes it into a little video. So you've got a picture with an up and down audio signal sort of graphic that's moving. So it's turned it into a video. Then you download it. I mean, I'm not joking. It takes minutes. You download it and then you upload it natively to LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'm not doing it, uploading it to YouTube, because we've already got the podcast going up to YouTube, so that would be an overkill. Yeah. But it's something people can share easily. It's something visual. It's video, so LinkedIn and Facebook will share it further than just your page that you share it on. So I'm sharing it on my page. I'm sharing it on the Own It the podcast page, and we're putting it into. I'm going to put it into the groups. Can you upload video to groups? Yes, you always can, can't you?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. And so that's one thing. And then you told us you were going to go and have a look at Podcasters Paradise tips about growing your podcast. Anything in there? I'm a lifetime member of Podcasters Paradise, which is John Lee Dumas's thing, who does Entrepreneur on Fire. And I haven't looked at it for ages, and I haven't had time this week, but I will go in over the weekend when I've got plenty of time.
Okay. Fine. And we decided we would stop fretting about our position on iTunes, although we have put it in 2 new categories. Remind me what they are.
We've gone for art and culture, personal journals, and we've gone for, I can't remember the other one. I think it was something at Business News. But
it was something other than...
No, it's our main category is still management and marketing.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But our secondary one used to be career, which didn't really speak to me, did it?
Yeah, and then the third one I realised was business, which is too broad. So going into business news is probably going to help us because we are quite up to date in this podcast. We do talk about current things all the time.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I thought that'd be fine. But
okay, keep going. Yep.
The main one I'm hopeful about is personal journals because this is a story of two women's journey, isn't it? Really,
it's two women chatting, and some weeks we have a journey. Yes. I'm polling existing members to try and find out the many different ways in which they listen and or subscribe, and noticing that iTunes represents about 50% at the moment, and that they've got myriad different ways in listening, and that we must remind everyone each week the various different ways in which they can do that, so that everybody, if all we're focusing on is listens, that everyone can find their easiest way to listen to the show and share the show. And we decided we would call it a radio show at least half the time, to give those that don't really understand what a podcast is a chance to find it and listen. And you said you were going to put, I think, on your website navbar.
Yeah, I have. I've done that. I've changed the word podcast to radio, and I've changed my V-zine to TV show.
Okay. Oh, that's a good idea.
And the other thing I've done is I'm just swapping between websites here. Is we looked at the current episode and we realised that the only thing, because of the software we're using to list the last 5 episodes, the only thing we had underneath that was subscribe in iTunes. So halfway through the in the show section, I've put subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube, because for some reason that software was only putting iTunes in, which was a bit annoying.
Okay.
So we're making it more obvious for people that they can subscribe in other places.
Okay. In the current episode, it did that anyway in previous episodes, oddly, didn't it? But not in the current one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to experiment with making these Lumen 5 videos, which I absolutely love, of each week's episode. Now, I can't do that until it goes live because you do it from a blog post, but that's okay because it only takes me 5 minutes to do. They're very shareable. And I think I'll do that on our page instead of notes for maybe between now and Christmas, to compare on the insights. Do notes go better and work better, or do the Lumen 5? Yeah, I'll give it. How many weeks is there between now and Christmas? 6 weeks or something, isn't it? Yeah. And see if the videos get better traction on our page.
Yeah, because I think they will.
I think they might. Yeah,
I absolutely love them. My only caveat is there any way to make the colour, where the colours change?
Well, I realised that I can do that. Yes, and I've worked out how to do that this morning. I realised when I did that one yesterday that it was using my branding, not our branding.
Oh, okay.
So the pink is my branding.
Yeah, well,
but now
the pink that was bothering me. There's some word got made pink halfway through the word. That was what.
Yes, I rather like that, but I can change it. I have the power to change.
Made my OCD very twitchy.
Yeah, but it's kind of the point in a way, which is that they want you to highlight some of the words. But leave it with me. Every time I do it, I will experiment. Okay. And I'm doing that, so you have to give me some creative license.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Let me just go back to momentum. So we've done a lot, haven't we? We talked on Monday. We've
talked a lot. We haven't done much yet, but as of today onwards, I think we will do quite a lot, won't we? Because I'm going to do the show notes in 2 different ways, and then next week I won't be publishing a note. I'll be publishing a Lumen 5 video of the show instead. And we've opened up the group, and anybody listening. I suppose the nutshell here is we put a lot into this, and we would love it if you would help us grow it. If you want to see it, we're doing a Heinz salad cream, which is if you want to see it continue, could you buy a couple, one for your mate? And so if you could just join our, what's it called, supporters and sharers group on Facebook, if you'd love to have easy access to, I'll put that in the show notes, support sharers and supporters group, I think it's
because I had a bit of trouble finding it on search. So I think...
Yes, but only because you should pin it to your favourites.
Yeah, but
I did tag you in it as well. I don't know why you're being a bit dim last night. It was 10 o'clock your time, only 8 hours. I think that was the answer.
Well, the reason was because my shortcuts has only got 5 things in it, and I've got about 100 shortcuts. So that's...
Oh, there's too many. Edit them to only the ones.
Own It the podcast, which is what most people would search in Facebook there in the URL.
I'm not sure it's called that. I think it's called Own It Supporters and Sharers, because Own It the podcast Supporters and Sharers was too long, I think.
Oh, right, okay. All right. So we need to
anyway, I'll link to it. Don't worry. I'll find it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but people do need to find it when they're listening and they can't be bothered to go to the show notes.
Well, I don't know that they do. I think if they can't be bothered to help us when they're listening, then they're not going to help us.
Okay, so yes, Own It Supporters and Sharers, it comes up straight away.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good.
So.
Anything else that you think we could do that we haven't thought of?
Well, I think that the main thing is that, that's a learning point really for the listeners, is that I was quite down last week about it, and I don't know why, looking back on it, because we had a good old chat, and it as you say, I re-evaluated my goals for it. And really, it's a great way of creating content effortlessly and fun. And we know that we get clients from it. So why was I focusing so much on the fact that it was growing slowly?
Well, you had a severe attack of comparisonitis. To be fair to you, I think that after 3 years, we might expect it to be reaching more than it is. Although when I listened to our show on the way out to dinner on Saturday night and again on the way home, I did say in that it's reached more people jointly and severally than you and I have done together or not. And I mean, it does reach a huge number of people, and maybe we should be content with that. I just think let's be grateful and abundant, not
being grateful,
scarce.
Good. Yeah,
not scarce and challenging and comparison-y about it.
Okay. Consider myself, revitalized on the whole thing. So it's not going anywhere.
Well, I don't know about that, you see. I think you had a point. I think it's useful to keep anything one is doing in your business under review.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it does. Where did you find that ancient picture of Calogria Beach? I'm fascinated.
It was in the library at Lumen 5.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, it's Calogria Beach. I don't know how they.
I know, because I put Stupa.
Yeah.
You can search in their library for images that match the text on the page.
Yeah. Oh, well, I might have to have a go with this, but
well, they choose it themselves first, and then you put other ones in there that you prefer, because they tend to go for sort of dark, blokey ones, rather oddly. Maybe it's run by dark blokes.
Pessimistic guys. Fantastic. All right. I love the Robin as well, because the Robin.
He's your early bird. Yeah. He's your early bird. Oh, look, your Christmassy early bird. Get it?
Yeah, I did get it. You see, look, listen to you. You had so much fun with this.
Well, because it's so easy.
Yeah, easy.
It's so easy. It's easy, and Facebook counts it as a video. But like you said, you have to download. You can share it from Lumen 5. That's not recommended. Download it, and then if you upload it, it's regarded by Facebook as native.
Yes, it is, and it goes further. Yeah, exactly. Fantastic, lovely. Just loved it, and it was lovely that you just did it so spontaneously and got it going, and I just love that.
Well, I've done another one this morning, not for us, but I'm going to do one a week for us, and I'm doing one every day of the week for me. I love them; they're so easy, and you can do them from old blog posts.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. The other thing I realised is that I haven't been very good at. Phoebe's been beavering away, always creating a little meme for Own It the podcast on the Own It the podcast Instagram. But I've been a bit slack about sharing them onto my followers, and I've actually got nearly 1,000 followers now. So I've been busily catching up with all the episodes. It's a bit of a faff because you have to do it on a mobile phone, and it's a bit painful. But I'm forcing myself to do it. And obviously on our YouTube, let's go and have a look at what's happening with YouTube. We're getting views and listens on YouTube as well, and it's building up quite nicely. So does a view / listen on YouTube count as a download? No.
Bum.
No, it does, because I'll tell you why. Because we're feeding it through to YouTube from Libsyn.
Okay, because don't forget that's our number one goal now: downloads / listens.
Well, I think we ought to go and have a look at Libsyn now, don't you? See what's happened in the last few days.
I'm sure it can't have made a difference because we haven't really done anything yet. Yeah. We've just talked about it. But again, I think when you have a review of marketing activities, it reminds you of the stuff you haven't done.
Yeah, absolutely. And if only I could work to a checklist, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Follow my own advice. Oh dear.
Well, we teach what we most need to learn, Nicola, don't we?
Well, absolutely true, yes. And look, we've got some really nice chunky spikes the last few days. Look, 82,
I can't see anything yet.
20, 51, 51, 49, 100. Look at that nice little batch of chunky spikes there.
Okay.
It's all good.
Well, as long as that cheers you up, we're all right. And that the yellow line's going down a bit.
No, it's going down. It's going up.
Okay,
down.
it's going up there. It's going down there. Yeah.
It's really, you've got to decide.
Well, that's up. What are we looking at there? What's that?
10 days.
7 days. 10 days.
So in the last 10 days, our downloads are up, strongly up. On a month, slightly down. On 3 months, slightly up. On a year, slightly down. Max, like you say, we're looking at Libsyn.
More grass. Yes.
Longer grass in last year and a half. The first year and a half. Anyway, we're not going to get too hung up on numbers, are we? We're just going to see that
we're going to focus on, we're going to visualize and do everything we can within our power to extend the reach and ask our listeners to help us, because what we want is people to listen to it, and we're going to measure download numbers. We're going to stop focusing on that ridiculous iTunes chart, but at the same time be hopeful that, what's it called, the journals one? Personal journals.
Yes, personal journals. It won't happen until we won't get till we publish a new episode, so that'll be tomorrow morning.
Okay.
That'll prompt iTunes to reclassify us.
Okay, nice.
And I'll keep an eye on whether we go into the what's hot in personal journals.
Anything you think we missed off our meeting last week?
No, I can't think we have. I think we've done as much. Even we came up with more ideas than I thought we would, and then you bunged the cherry on the top with the Lumen video. So
yeah, I think it's just fun things. Marketing, we only do the things we want to do. Yes,
that's true. And
so if it's hard. If it's hard or we don't like it or we don't want me to do it, it's never going to happen. So, the lesson here for everybody is make it easy for your fans to share your content and create lots of content that you love.
And focus on measurables that are meaningful rather than silly things like I was, which was the iTunes chart. It very rarely gets updated. It's been largely abandoned by iTunes apparently, and I was focusing on it, and I shouldn't have been. I should have been focusing. And
tell the listener what you told me, that we are higher than certain people like Pat Flynn.
Yeah. I mean, if you go and actually look at where we are, it's not shabby at all. It's very, very respectable indeed, and I'm good company. So. Let's just, nice
reframe there, Nicola. Not shabby at all.
Not shabby at all. It's the opposite of shabby, which I have to say, my clothes are not. I'm desperate for some new clothes. But I'm trying to think to myself, should I hang on warm clothes? Because last year I only wore black, and they're all worn out, the clothes I wore last year. So I need new ones. Do I wait till I come home, or do I take the chance and order stuff that maybe have to be returned, which means a trip?
No, I'd wait. I would definitely wait. And between now and then, I just wear double outfits if you're cold.
I'm not cold. I'm warm enough. It's just that going down the village is a bit of a challenge because everything's got holes in it, always washed out looking.
Oh, I wouldn't worry. You're a digital nomad. Holy clothes are us.
Oh, dear. 1 second. Callers. Right. Here we go. We are above Pat Flynn's Ask Pat. We're above James Schramm.
Although he is also at number 1.
Oh, yeah. We smart passive income ones at number 1. Well, we're not going to look at the number ones. We're going to look at the ones here.
No, all right.
We're
above McKinsey's, which is the biggest firm of management consultants in the world. Yeah.
And we're just behind Dan Meredith, who's incredibly popular. We're just behind Chris Ducker, who is incredibly popular and has a monster mailing list. And we're above James. Sorry, James. We're above James Schramko, who's one of my heroes. So, that's not so bad. Travel Like a Boss is a really popular podcast as well. So we're doing all right.
Not that we're comparing ourselves to anyone.
No, because we're not, because that's silly, isn't it?
Yes. Because we're unique.
We are unique, yes.
And so are all of them.
Yeah, all our listeners are unique too.
Actually, I went and listened to James because you said one of the things last week when I said, let's stop it, was that James had shut down about half a dozen of his. And I went and listened to that that show because it was only about 14 minutes long, and I don't mind a bit of James Schramko. And he was actually doing multiple podcasts, The Nutter, and he's stopped doing that now and just going to do the one. And that's a good lesson for everybody, I think, is, stop spreading it. I spoke to that lady yesterday who's written 2 books. Should we just have a page called your author name, or should we have a page for every book you write? She's written 2, there's going to be a 3rd one. It's just exhausting to do multiple iterations of the same marketing activity. It's all got to work with underneath your one umbrella, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you're never going to update five different pages. It's much better to have an author page.
I agree.
And also follow a few of the authors you like, because you recommended that Connolly chap to me, and I went and followed him on Facebook, and so I ordered his book as well. So there you go. You told one person about it, and I've now ordered actually book 1 and book 2.
Oh, well done. Well done. You've got to start at the beginning with those ones, because you need to build up the relationship with the character.
Yeah, exactly. We are on to word of the week. What's your word of the week?
Well, my word of the week is snowflake. Do you know what that means in modern parlance?
No.
I've discovered that I am a snowflake. It means a hypersensitive, somewhat irrational person who can't stand to have their worldviews challenged or be offended in any perceived or even slightest of ways. They will have any number of emotional reactions, impugning character and or motives, blocking on social media, shouting, interrupting, threatening and assaulting. I don't do all of those, by the way. But they often live in an echo chamber of their own beliefs and surround themselves exclusively with people and opinions that agree with their own. This term is most often used to describe people left-leaning, but it can be applied to both left and right-wing people. I'm a bit of a snowflake, Nicola.
Well, now you've said it, it's obvious, isn't it?
Yes, it is obvious, yes.
Does it make you feel better knowing that you're a snowflake, Judith?
I knew I was a snowflake, and it's used in a derogatory term, obviously, but I've owned up to it this week. That's all that's happened.
Well, when you said I'm a snowflake, I was thinking along the lines of fluffy, delicate, transparent, transitory. I was thinking more positive things about it. So there you go.
Well, it's not positive. It means that I don't want anybody picking a fight with me on social media, because I'll block them, and I don't want people. I'm sensitive about extremely right-wing goings on in the world, and I don't want to know they exist. So I create this echo chamber, bubble, where I don't have to know what's going on. When people gun each other down and so forth. But anyway, I'm a snowflake. What's your word of the week?
It's collaboration, because having the meeting with you on Monday reminded me how much I love collaborating with you, and going to Write Club and talking about what we were talking about reminded me how much I love collaborating with those ladies, because they're all from different ages, they're different backgrounds, and they're super smart. Each one of them they got a brilliant sense of humour, and it's just an absolute joy. And collaboration is my word of the week.
And do you know what I like about that story about Write Club? You couldn't possibly have foreseen that direction before you went to, a year ago, before you went to live in Stupor. You didn't know you were going to find something that would encourage you to be a creative writer. You didn't know you were going to find a bunch of super smart women in the middle of bloody nowhere, did you?
No, not at all. God.
Imagine.
Yeah, I know. I feel very, very fortunate and grateful, which is lovely. Okay, project updates then.
Well, I did warn you last week that I would have nothing to report, but I am doing, as you rightly pointed out, a lot of pre-publication promo for my book whilst waiting for the forward.
What you've been doing, I love.
Thanks.
Sharing bits. It looks fabulous. It reads really well. It's coming thick and fast, not thick and fast, so that I feel that it's too much. I'm looking forward to the next snippet. You're not sharing everything, but you're giving us a real good taste of what it's going to be like. I think you're doing a fantastic job with that.
Oh, thanks. But you know why? It's that same thing about if you're on fire with it, you can't help but share it. I wish it was already on sale, but I'm waiting on other people, and that's fine. That'll be happening for a reason. But I'm kind of like, I really want to get my book out. I'm kind of like that about it. I'm sure I'm within a fortnight, but that's the only thing I can do in the meantime to share my excitement.
I know, and I'm so glad as well that you chose to go with your own cover, because I thought that was absolutely fantastic, your cover.
Yeah. Can I just tell you, I haven't told the man yet that.
Ah, okay.
But I'm going to tell him assertively, not least because of what I'm going to tell you in the next section. But you tell me anything to report here from you?
I've got a Facebook page up for my trilogy, which is coming. I don't know if I told you that this week. And the thing that we were most excited about after we'd done my critique this week was we are forging ahead with the Writers Podcast. We're going to have record, batches of them at a time, and then we're going to have a rolling thing, because there's no good British writers podcast, by writers for writers. There's lots of podcasts about books and reviewing books and things like that, but there's nothing really. So there's going to be a core four of us, because there's always four of us in the village at any one time. And the other people we might patch in by Zoom, but we're going to get together and create it so that we can batch record it. And we're going to have all sorts of fun things like, grammar police thing, what's on your bedside table, can you spot the book by the first line, and things like that. It's going to be really good fun for readers and writers.
Can I just say at this point, can you spot a book from the first line? That my older school friend Leslie, who invented Jenga, also invented a book that You in Write Club, a game in You in Write Club will absolutely love, and so will the listeners who like words and wordiness and first lines and last lines of books. It's called Ex Libris. And the precise game is you draw a card which on one side has the first opening line of a book, and on the other side has the closing line of a book.
Oh.
And you take it in turns to be the person in charge, and everybody else in the team. So the person in charge, me, let's say it's me, I read out the synopsis of the book, and on the toss of a coin, we all write down either the first line or the last line. So if I say it's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, you have to write down a first line that you will convince other people is the first line of Pride and Prejudice. And then me, I read them all out, and you get a point if somebody picks you instead of Jane Austen, and you get a point for picking the right one.
It's so weird you should mention that particular book, because I was at the pub quiz recently. The one thing that they said the thing was they read them out, the first line, and it was something along the lines of,
it's an acknowledged truth. So the man in one, yeah.
a man in possession of a certain fortune will be one in want of a wife. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I got
Very
it.
famous.
And it was Pride and Prejudice.
It's famous. It's a great book. I'm actually my body is. I've got goosebumps because I love that book very much.
Yeah. So
but anyway,
it's going to be really good fun, and it's going to be one more thing. I'm going to teach Teresa, who's in our group. She wants to start her own podcast, so I'm going to teach her how to do it as well. So I won't be solely doing the tech, and we're not going to do it like we do it. We're going to do it on Audio Boom, so it's all nice and easy. And we just hope it's it's going to be popular with writers. But the main
it's by writers for writers. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's for readers as well. So people who love books can listen to it, even if they're not intending to write one of their own. But the main goal of it is to raise all our profiles in the literary scene in the UK.
Marvellous. Well, let me tell you that Ex Libris, Leslie's Game, the company is now run largely by her daughter Freddie, who's my goddaughter, and they do a podcast live from Blackwell's bookshop in Oxford about on first lines and last lines with famous authors publishing their pushing their books, promoting their books by participating in the game.
Lovely. What's the podcast name? Do you know?
I think it's called Ex Libris, but I'll send you. Oxford Games is the name of the company that now sells Ex Libris, and I will, if you can't find it, I will send it to you, and I will link to it in the show notes as well.
Okay, cool. So it's just so much fun doing things like this, isn't it?
Well, that's a good word of the week as well. Fun.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because everything should be fun.
I know, but it so rarely is.
Well, running your own business is fun. We don't go to work for somebody else because it wasn't enough fun. That's why Nelson stopped going to Cubicle Nation. It wasn't fun.
He's got a new job already, bless him, in a really cool organic cafe in Shoreham.
Oh, great.
It's going to leave him. It's going to leave him lots of time to make his music, and he's going to have a lovely time there. Right, we must crack on because we're running out of time here. What's impressed?
Well, we're not running out of time. What are you talking about?
Oh, I thought we decided we're going to keep it down to 45 minutes.
No, only if we ran out of things to say. I haven't run out of things to say yet. Because I've got a fantastic thing to tell you in this section, which I found this thing called adazing.com, adazing.com, which took my own cover design and turned it into a 3D book cover for free, and then upsold me to 28 visions for the ebook, the audiobook, book covers, social media images with people in it reading my book and props.
I did wonder how you've done all that.
Yeah, $12.75 for 28 versions of it. And when I misunderstood their sales page and bought it twice in error, I was immediately refunded by the man himself. Lovely images, great customer service, further upsell, which I've resisted, but it was a nice bundle of digital information for authors at the very reasonable price of less than $100. Lovely business model, simple, clean, passive, and I found it by Googling.
Wow, marvellous. That's great. I mean, because the thing I used is very old-fashioned looking now, and it was also very difficult to use, and $4 a pop for every image.
Oh, no, I'm chuffed to bits with mine. Aren't they pretty?
Yes, they are pretty, and I was wondering how you were doing all those.
Well, there you go. I've told you. I've revealed my innermost secret.
That's what we do on this podcast. We reveal our best tools and tools. I'm about to share one now.
Oh, good.
ConvertFox.com. It's a new thing that's just sort of launching, but I've been paying $60 to $70 a month for lead pages. I've been paying $70 a month for Intercom, which is a thing that tracks whether your members come and, whether they're slipping away and all that stuff, and it gives you a chat box. I've been paying nearly $200 a month for Infusionsoft, and I've been paying, I think live chat was free, but I think I upgraded to get a better version. So $300 worth of kit, and ConvertFox are doing a special offer, and they do all of that. They do opt-in boxes, they do email automation, they do live chat, they do visitor tracking, so you can see if people, and you can also automate messages that go out if people take one action or the other. It's awesome, and it's a lifetime purchase at the moment of $49, and there's a suite of tools you can upgrade to. I think it means you can put it on as many sites as you like for $60. So for $100 one-off fee, you can get everything that I've been paying $300 a month for.
My 22 Social does most of that as well.
Oh, okay, cool. But it's only on special offer for a little while, so go and check it out and see if you can get the one-time lifetime deal, and use the bits you need now, knowing you've got all those other bits in the future.
Yeah, bargain. It's a bargain, actually.
Nice one. Okay, that's us done. I'll speak to you later next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.